If you want to sit in on like one of the choir chairs, we have no choir.
There's no choir.
So no choir.
Like we move one of the chairs.
Absolutely, yeah. Whatever you need to do. Jerry, morning. Good to see you.
I talked to Russ Lemon, I guess, and he said there's no way that they can really so he said he thought the best thing would be if I and essentially mic and speaker.
Door? And have your own kind of setup.
Yeah.
Nope, that would work probably.
And unfortunately, that involves a lot of screwing around.
Yes.
I'm talking about speaker
Right
stand,
there.
speaker.
Perfect.
I presume I'll use a mic stand from here. I'll use my own mic. I think I'll use the I'll use my shared setup mic switch instead of I've also got a wireless headset.
We'll find another time.
I'm not recovering, so I don't know what's going to happen.
All right. Oh, I don't know. Or you could
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I did it initially, initially done, so I'll have to shake off the rest, otherwise.
It's 10 o'clock. Do you want to start your yeah? Yep, perfect. That works. If it's not Our gathering song for the month of October is number 402, From You I Receive. Please rise in body or in spirit. received, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society. We are grateful to gather for a time of inspiration, reflection, and connection. Whether you join us today with joy in your heart, weighted with burdens, or searching for meaningful connections, we are glad that you are here. I'm Reverend Diana Smith. My pronouns are she and her. I am a somewhat tall white woman in my mid-40s with short, curly, white and gray and brown hair. And I am wearing a very colorful universe-type stole standing in UUS's pulpit at the front of our sanctuary. Our sanctuary and the adjoining Religious Education Commons are slowly filling with people of all ages, but it is wonderful to see them filling. And through the window walls of our sanctuary, we connect to the natural world around us, where there is a lovely breeze today, and the mums with their beautiful fall colors seemingly sprang from the ground overnight, perhaps with a little help from the Land Ministry Day of Service volunteers yesterday. Thank you, folks. It looks wonderful. As we gather, we give thanks for this land and all who have cared for it over the centuries, particularly the Kickapoo, the Iowa, the Sauk, and the Meskwaki, and the Oceti-Shakawan nations. As people of many ages, genders, races, sexual orientations, classes, abilities, and health statuses, we know how important it is to come together and work together to create a radically welcoming spiritual community. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith expresses our core value of love through how we agree to be together and to support each other. We're guided by the shared principles, sources, and values of our living religious tradition. And this morning, as we begin our annual stewardship campaign to keep our congregation running, we'll be celebrating our value of nurturing gratitude. If doing something with your hands helps you, we invite you to visit the soul work table outside the sanctuary doors to pick up an exploratory guide or coloring sheet for today's service, or something else to work with. And if you're newer to our congregation, we invite you to learn more about us after the service by talking with a greeter or by filling out our visitor form in our YouTube show notes that will help us connect with you. And now, as we begin our worship service, I invite you to take a moment to notice, what are you grateful for today? And how are you nurturing gratitude in your life? For it is in nurturing gratitude that we help make our lives complete. And now, let's join our voices in song.
Our opening is number 1054, Let This Be a House of Peace. This hymn may be a little bit unfamiliar to some of us. It's a bit newer. We haven't done it recently, to my knowledge, but the message is very appropriate to kick off our month of stewardship. So I invite you to just absorb the message and the words and jump in whenever you can. Please rise in body or in spirit. This be a house of peace, of nature and humanity, of sorrow and elation. Let this be our house, a haven for the healing, an open room for questions, question and our inspiration. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of freedom. Guardian of dignity and worth held deep inside us. Let this be our house, a platform for the free voice, where all our sacred differences here shall not divide us. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let all in this house seek truth, where scientists and mystics abide in reverence here. Let this be our house, a house of our creation, where works of art and melodies consecrate the atmosphere. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of prophecy. May vision for our children be our common theme. Let this be our house of myth and lore and legend, our trove of ancient story and cradle of untamed dreams. Let this be a house of peace. Let this be a house of peace.
Good morning. I'm Kara Beauchamp, a worship associate and a member of this congregation. I'm a 60-year-old white woman with white hair, and my pronouns are she and her. In the spirit of gratitude for our community, we light our chalice as a symbol of our shared values and principles. Please join me in saying our chalice lighting words as Rory lights our chalice. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the wonder and mystery of this great gift. So let us now kindle our flame of our liberal religious heritage and renew our covenant of mutual love and care. Love is our doctrine, the quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, and to serve those in need. This we promise, this we covenant with life and one another. This week, we light our candle for justice and healing to acknowledge the injustice and trauma caused by immigration raids in our community and in other communities around the country, and to acknowledge the work that many of our community members are doing to support immigrants. As we work in solidarity with others for liberation, justice, and healing, we create resilience and hope. As I light this candle, we will hold a moment of silence. Ian is going to come tell us about a video he's going to share.
Good morning. Thanks again. Please, please, please. My name is Ian Cawley. I am a 41-year-old member of this congregation, and this morning coming to you as a member of our stewardship campaign committee. I am, I think, average height, and I use he, him pronouns. Today I'm wearing a blue shirt, and I have, for a little bit longer, some brown hair on top of my head. Thank you. You want to just follow me around a little bit, like during the week and stuff? This month is today is the kickoff of our stewardship campaign. October is the stewardship month this year, and we want to, as we're going through the month, just remember a lot of the things that UUS, that this place is a home for. The theme of the campaign this month is a home for hope. I hope that a lot of you received letters in the mail this week, maybe all of you, about some of the things that we mean when we say hope. There's also, on the back of the letter, and as we've been talking with congregants during the last few weeks, there's a lot of other things that UUS is a home for. So things like community, connection. If you ask my daughter Edie, she'll say Legos, snacks after service, coloring. For me, UUS is a home for spiritual renewal and a place to watch Edie grow up and help her grow up. The video that we're about to watch is the beginning of a capturing some of these things that UUS is a home for all of us. So you'll see on the video some different members of the congregation saying what UUS is a home for them, including Edie. And what we would like to do is have us add to this during the month, so that we have a lot of different voices from within the congregation telling each other about what UUS is a home for. So I hope you'll get an idea from the video of what it is. Yeah, are you ready? It's going to be fun. So you have an idea what we're trying to capture here, and then after the service, which we'll talk a little bit more about, but on the tables there'll be an opportunity to write down what UUS is a home for you. And I hope, if you're comfortable, just share a short little video clip also that we can continue to add to this, so that this video will become more and more, include more and more of the things that UUS is a home for as we go on. All right, with that, then we'll go ahead and play the video. Thank you, guys.
UUS is, for me, a home for connections. There's so many opportunities for you to get involved with.
UUS is a home for community.
UUS is a home for me for pluralism, which represents all of us coming together as what we truly are and we're meant to be, which is human beings.
Doing the labyrinth. And finding these acorns.
Oh, nice.
UUS is a home for me, and it has become a home for everybody, regardless of who you are and what you bring to the table.
For me, UUS is a home for service, helping others, which brings me joy and meaning.
UUS is a home for me to stretch myself in ways that I never knew or considered before.
I think I'm a better person because I'm a Unitarian Universalist.
Good morning. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Nick Kaplan. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UUS. In class today, which is where our children, youth, and adults are about to head, just like we've invited the adults, just like Ian invited the adults to continue to think about what UUS is a home for, all of the children, youth, and teachers who go to class in a moment will be discussing the very same thing. What is UUS a home for when it comes to us? Because each of us are welcome here and have made a home here for ourselves in one way or another. So, each week when they head to class, our children light a lantern as a symbol of love and hope that goes with them as they explore our faith. Children, youth, teachers, anyone heading to religious education class, please come forward as CC lights our lantern from our chalice. And we can all join in singing "Be Open" as the children, youth, and teachers head to religious education. The words are on your screen, and Andrew will be leading us.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Aye, 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 aye.
This morning's reading is from Returning the Gift, which is from Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And in Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin Wall Kimmerer, a writer, scientist, and enrolled member of the Citizen Potawatomi Nation, writes about the practice of generosity celebrated in the Minadewak, a traditional giveaway ceremony of the Potawatomi. The following reading is compiled from excerpts from the book's epilogue, Returning the Gift. Generosity is simultaneously a moral and material imperative, especially among people who live close to the land and know its waves of plenty and scarcity, where the well-being of one is linked to the well-being of all. Wealth among traditional people is measured by having enough to give away. In a culture of gratitude, everyone knows that gifts will follow the circle of reciprocity and flow back to you again. This time you give, the next time you receive. Both the honor of giving and the humility of receiving are necessary halves of the equation. I don't know the origin of the giveaway, but I think that we learned it from watching the plants, especially the berries, who offer up their gifts all wrapped in red and blue. We may forget the teacher, but our language remembers. Our word for the giveaway, Minadewak, means they give from the heart. At the word's center lives the word min. Min is a root word for gift, but it is also the word for berry. In the poetry of our language, might speaking of Minadewak remind us to be as the berries. The berries are always present at our ceremonies. They join us in a wooden bowl, one big bowl and one big spoon, which are passed around the circle so that each person can taste the sweetness, remember the gifts, and say thank you. The generosity of the earth is not an invitation to take it all. Every bowl has a bottom, and when it's empty, it's empty. So how do we refill the empty bowl? Is gratitude alone enough? Berries teach us otherwise. When berries spread out their giveaway blanket, offering their sweetness to birds and children and bears alike, the transaction does not end there. Something beyond gratitude is asked of us. The berries trust that we will uphold our end of the bargain and disperse their seeds to new places to grow, which is good for berries and for children. They remind us that all flourishing is mutual. All flourishing is mutual. We need the berries, and the berries need us. Their gifts multiply by our care for them and dwindle from our neglect. We are bound in a covenant of reciprocity and a pact of mutual responsibility to sustain those who sustain us. And so the empty bowl is filled. We are all bound by a covenant of reciprocity: plant breath for animal breath, winter and summer, predator and prey, grass and fire, night and day, living and dying. The water knows this, and the clouds know this. Our elders say that ceremony is the way we can remember to remember. In the dance of the giveaway, remember that the earth is a gift that we must pass on, just as it came to us. End quote. Likewise, this congregation and this faith is a gift that we must pass on, just as it came to us.
The capitalist culture that we live in gives us a very different message than the gift economy that Robin Wall Kimmerer speaks of. Rather than telling us that there's enough to give away, that we are engaged in a dance of giving and receiving, a dance that lives out our covenant of reciprocity. It tells us that we are engaged in a fight for scarce resources, and we must ensure that each of us individually and our families have enough. Enough, which is defined by continual growth, want rather than need. And more for you means less for me, because the flourishing of one can be separated from the flourishing of all, because there's no trust in mutuality. Capitalism, the market economy, flourishes on a message, on an underlying philosophy, on a myth of scarcity. It must establish a sense of scarcity in order to survive. Think about that for a moment. Our culture must establish a myth of scarcity in order to survive. And so it has become very good at establishing a mindset of scarcity in us. The American dream seems to have become to use money we don't have, to buy things we don't need, to impress people, to spend money to relax, or to feed the gnawing chasm of fear within us. And this is compounded by our current American government and society, which uses scarcity to deepen division and maintain power. While growing authoritarianism is a somewhat different problem, the two, the scarcity mindset of our capitalist market economy culture and growing authoritarianism, are developing ways to thrive on each other. Because our system has become defined not simply by the myth of scarcity, but by what Charles Einstein, who wrote the book Sacred Economics, calls the myth of separation. This tells us that we are individuals first and foremost. We are competitors, and we are isolated. We're bombarded by these messages that run counter to the fundamental teachings of our planet, of our universe, and of our Unitarian Universalist values and principles all of the time. One of the ones that comes to mind first for me are car commercials that I see when I settle in to watch Doctor Who reruns. They tell me that I need a powerful new truck to be safe and whole, because we've always relied on ourselves and the power, independence, and innovation that we can claim and harness to call our own. Think about that. You might have seen that truck commercial. And next time you see one of them, I invite you to think, what's the message here? There is independence. There is innovation. We harness power. We make it our own. We can control. We can separate. We can have it. Or that they tell me that I need a new sedan that will perfectly reflect my lifestyle and personality. How wonderful would that be? Yeah. Now, I'm sure from your laughter that you can easily think of many other ways that we're bombarded by the myths of scarcity and separation. I mean, goodness knows we see them all the time in our news in ways that aren't so subtle. But you know that I don't want to just stop with calling out the problem. Because one of our primary purposes as Unitarian Universalists is to help each other live ethical and faithful lives. We come together in this congregation because we need places where we can call our attention to our values, where we can nurture our sense of gratitude, where we can talk about the abundance that we have been given, however little that abundance is. And we can use our gratitude and our abundance to live love, where we can find the many ways that we create hope. We need a place that can help us develop and live a different story. And we need reminders to do this. Now, for me, something that constantly, especially at this time of the year, calls me out of the myths of separation and scarcity and reminds me of how I live in the midst of a story of abundance and reciprocity is, perhaps not surprisingly, my garden. In it, I witness the generous cycles of nature. I see the mutuality of insects and plants and small animals, and I get to share produce with my human community. I love that being here, I can also be called in to those cycles in other ways. For me, another reminder is how every week in this congregation, in our offering, we talk about giving from our abundance. Now, we know that there are people with many different financial resources within our congregation. We know that for some of us, giving a quarter or $10 means as much as giving $100 or $1,000 does for others. We know that it is not only our community partner agencies, but also our congregation that needs support. And we know that we are part of a circle, part of a dance of mutuality and reciprocity, and that it is crucial that we remind ourselves of the abundance that is part of our lives in so many ways, and that we can give from that abundance however it is showing up. We know that we need to call our attention to the many things in our world that can counter the myths of separation and scarcity. Some of those happen through our congregation, and some of them happen through our engagement with the rest of the world. So I ask you, what is something that calls your attention away from the myths of scarcity and separation and into abundance, reciprocity, and gratitude? I invite you to call a few of those out so that I can share them with folks. Anything. community. Community, being with people. What a great way to call ourselves out of those myths of separation. Watching the bumblebees and the honeybees on the flowers in their garden. Yes. Give me a couple others. Oh, so here, and then whatever I heard over here. Yes. You are my family. Wonderful. What? Singing together. Yes. Yes. The mingling of our voices calling us literally into how we are together. Wonderful. I know that you are thinking of more. And in the next few minutes, as we join in meditation, contemplation, and prayer, and share in our offering, I invite you to continue to call these into your minds and hearts as we prepare ourselves to reflect further on what living a life of gratitude and abundance could mean.
Will you please join me in this time of prayer and contemplation? Father Richard Rohr says, "We do not even know what we really desire until we hear ourselves pray for it." Right now, what do you desire for this community? Spirit of life, Spirit of love, we pray today to imagine a bigger vision for this community, a more expansive vision beyond scarcity, beyond fear. We pray today for a vision that affirms our generosity and our sacred interdependence and our desires for our aspirational faith. May we resist the limitations we often put on our own envisionings, our own imaginations. May we not limit what this body of love can do together for this community and for this world that we know can support the thriving of all of us. We pray not alone, but together. We do not do this work alone. We do it together. May it be so. Amen.
Our members support the life and work of this Unitarian Universalist congregation with their time and their talent, and by making and fulfilling annual pledges. Our collective generosity sustains our programs, our outreach efforts, and this inspiring space. Through our Sunday offering, this congregation donates generously to organizations in the community whose work aligns with our values and principles. Our community partner agency this month is the Free Lunch Program. Through the Free Lunch Program of Iowa City, volunteer teams prepare and serve nutritious meals from noon to 1 p.m., Monday through Saturday, all year long, to anyone who shows up. Since 1985, UUS has provided the free lunch meal on the second Friday of every month. UUS members, individually and through covenant groups, donate funds to purchase the meals. In this sanctuary, all cash collected goes directly to our community partner agency and the Community Common Fund. If you are writing a check, please use the memo line to designate the purpose as for our community partner, your pledge, or a gift to support our operating expenses. You can follow the instructions on the screen to give online or via text. As we give and receive the offering, may we be transformed by our giving, and may the world be transformed by our gifts. As we gather this morning, we can say thank you from our hearts for all the blessings of our lives. I invite you to respond to the words that I say with, "Let us give thanks," when I indicate. For the beauty of the sun and the moon and the stars, for clouds and the wide blue sky, let us give thanks. For the trees and the mountains, prairies, deserts, and valleys, for lakes, oceans, and rivers, let us give thanks. For birds, fish, bugs, all creatures of the earth and sky, and especially for our animal friends, let us give thanks. For all people of all genders, of every race, of every country, of every religion, no matter who they love or who they voted for, let us give thanks. For the kindness we find in our own hearts and in the hearts of others we meet each day, let us give thanks. For the joy of being here together today, old and new, friend and stranger, gathered in this place, let us give thanks.
So what are you grateful for today? What do you give thanks for? Some of you started calling out some things that bring you out of that myth of abundance earlier, and we just gave thanks. But I'd like to hear from you. What are a few things you give thanks for? Sorry? Peace? Peace. The returning eagles. The returning eagles, yes. Alan, yes. Art and music. And thank you, Song, for your music today. Trees.
I give thanks for life and that I have a new great-grandchild.
For life and for having a new great-grandchild. How wonderful. Sue. For friends and family. Yes. Thank you for sharing those. So as you may have read in my October newsletter article or in Covenant Group materials, our Soul Matters theme this month is nurturing gratitude. This theme invites us into noticing how we nurture our experiences of gratitude as part of our lives, and invites us into noticing how deepening those practices affects us. Now, as I prepared for this month's theme, I happened into a conversation with a minister friend. They had recently begun an evening practice of noticing how joy and gratitude had entered their life during that day. Their new practice is helping them find resiliency in these challenging times. In our conversation, I shared my own morning joy and gratitude practice and how it's affected me over the past few years. But then our conversation made me wonder, how does having a morning practice of joy and gratitude affect me differently than an evening practice would? And what do I do as a result of my gratitude? Now, as a result of my questions, I've added a few minutes of reflection to my bedtime routine in the past couple of weeks. I will note this is not a gratitude journal because I have failed to do that effectively for years. But I am taking a few minutes to reflect on how joy and gratitude have entered my life that day. And I'm also noticing what I've done or how I have lived that day as a result of my gratitude and joy. Now, these are having the immediate impact of helping me feel more connected to my values and my community as I wind down, and as a result, to sleep better, which is very good. We all need things that help us sleep better in these challenging times, right? And I suspect that the long-term benefits are even greater. I suspect this not simply because of my training as a minister, which tells me about how prayer and this is a form of prayer, by the way, affect our hearts and minds and spirit. I also suspect this will have long-term benefits as a student of psychology, especially of positive psychology. And I suspect this as a student of history and community engagement and liberatory practices. What we notice matters because what we pay attention to grows. It turns into how we live and what we do, which is, in fact, a lot of what stewardship is about. Because stewardship, globally speaking, is about how we care for something that we have become part of or for which we have been given responsibility. And so we can speak of stewardship of the land. We can speak of stewardship of a congregation. We can speak of stewardship of resources. Stewardship is about how we help ensure that something remains healthy and can carry on to benefit others, especially in that large sense of a world of mutuality and reciprocity, which is really another way of saying that stewardship is about how we tend the relationships that Robin Wall Kimmerer talked about in the passage that Madison read earlier. It's about how we ensure that there are berries for the birds and the bears and the children now and also in the future. It's about how we share, how we give, how we receive, how we use our gifts, how we are part of the dance of reciprocity. It's about noticing how what we give and how what we receive makes a difference in our lives. And it's about noticing how that was both a result of our Thanksgiving and a way of feeding our Thanksgiving. Through our stewardship, we break the myth of independence, of selfishness, of separation, of scarcity. Me and mine becomes ours, both for our present and our future. Which brings me, of course, to this congregation. Because we are all part of making this congregation what it is. You hear me say this all the time because it is true on so many levels. Everything from how we operate in our congregational polity, to how we are funded, to what programs and opportunities we can offer now and in the future. We engage with this congregation through our talents, our skills, our passions, and our financial resources. And through it, we help live love more fully and fiercely into this world. We live our congregation's vision individually and collectively. Now, we don't speak of our overall ongoing vision very often, but it is. We aspire to be a more inclusive, loving, diverse congregation that welcomes all people. We will defend and celebrate the earth, confront racial and social injustice, and nurture deep connections. And so I invite you to reflect on, how are you and the people you love part of making this vision a reality through your gifts of time, ability, and money? And how are you and the people you love benefiting from this overall vision? Now, to help us think and act more concretely, and to help you reflect more concretely, to think about these questions, in addition to our overall vision, we have a vision of shared ministry for this congregational year. It gives us some more specific guidance on what our community needs right now to help make our overall vision a reality. As Kara, Madison, and I share it, I invite you to also notice how you and the people you love are both part of making this vision a reality and are benefiting from it.
We will nurture our capacity to live out our mission and values. We will focus our efforts, develop clear priorities, and respect limits to staff and volunteer time and energy. We will cultivate leaders and encourage cycles of rest and renewal. We will reduce barriers to participation, helping new and existing members and friends engage more easily in our shared life, work, and spiritual development of the congregation. We will creatively and compassionately engage in difficult conversations and conflict as we lean into our covenantal tradition. We will continue our anti-oppression work by practicing patience, resisting perfectionism, and cultivating open-mindedness together.
We will help meet critical needs of our neighbors. We will provide a beacon and a sanctuary for those seeking meaningful connections or a refuge from social or political oppression. We will build bonds with allied groups in our surrounding community, helping develop coalitions of faith communities and other allied organizations. We will be visible in the public square. We will use our building to enhance our mission and partnerships. Given needs we are aware of and capacities we already have in place, we will support families with children, finding out about and attending to gaps in the state and our local community in regards to childcare and limits on topics for education.
And we will continue to build our financial sustainability. We will work to balance our budget. We will refine and develop our annual stewardship and fundraising. We will grow our long-term stewardship through the endowment, planned giving, and other strategies. We will be good ancestors. And that is our vision of shared ministry. Thank you. Each of us, using our gifts of time, ability, and money, are crucial parts of making this vision a reality, of stewarding this congregation, of making this a home for hope. And it is crucial that we support liberal institutions in these times. I know that there are many pressures and competing needs, but without strong liberal institutions, including and often particularly congregations, given how this world, this administration is operating, we will not be able to create the world that we need in order to survive and thrive. For we are creating not only a home for gratitude, abundance, and generosity and joy, but also for hope. In a moment, Chris Taylor, who's a member of this congregation and an aspirant for ministry, will tell you more about this year's stewardship campaign and how you can be part of helping keep this home for hope a vibrant place this year and into the future. As you learn about that, I hope you will continue to sit with the question of how UUS has become a home for hope for you, and how you are called to continue your engagement to help it become a home for hope for even more people. And then I hope you'll not only carry that into your pledging and your volunteerism, but also into what you share of your answers with our congregation by putting them on a poster or working with Ian to become part of one of our video reels, and that you hope and that you share them in the wider world. For as Robin Wall Kimmerer says, we are all bound in a covenant of reciprocity. May we each and all nurture that covenant and our place within it. So may it be. Amen. And blessed be. Now, Chris, please.
Good morning. For those of you I haven't met yet, I am Chris Taylor. My pronouns are he, him. I am a tallish man in my 40s. I have pale skin, albeit slightly pinkened at the moment from watching a high school marching band and color guard competition yesterday. Go Prairie Hawks. I have long, curly, dark blonde hair and a full beard, and I'm wearing a button-down shirt and jeans. Along with Reverend Diana and Madison and Ian and Nick and Kara, and on behalf of the entire stewardship team, it is my great pleasure this morning to welcome you to our 2026 Pledge campaign. As Reverend Diana just reminded us, this is an opportunity to reflect on the ways that our congregation is called to serve the world, and in return, how we are called to serve UUS and one another. Now, I've occasionally referred to myself as a fifth principle UU, the belief that
Every community ought to have the right to govern itself through the democratic process has informed my own public service for 15 years. And it's easy to lose sight of just how special that is. That's something that I have taken for granted, even now when we're seeing the expectation of democracy begin fraying at the seams. But just as it falls to us to establish the direction of our congregation, it's also our collective responsibility to ensure that the congregation has the resources that it needs to move itself forward in that direction. We've set an ambitious goal this year to secure $425,000 in pledges for the 2026 budget. Part of being a politician is knowing how to manage expectations, so I do have to tell you it will not be easy to meet that goal. But as a person of faith, I also believe that ambition is not always a bad thing, not when it's in the service of justice, of sustainability, of community, of dare I say hope. As one of our team members so aptly quoted Robert Browning at one of our early meetings, our reach ought to exceed our grasp, else what's a heaven for? As of last night, we've already received 27 pledges totaling over $118,000. Thank you so much to all of you who have pledged early and who have done so generously. And as we all make plans to pledge to this campaign, we do hope, if you are a sustaining member, that you will consider increasing your pledge from last year. If you've never pledged before, this is a wonderful time to make a first-time pledge. After the service, the stewardship team will have a table in the fellowship hall where you can look at our campaign materials. I think we'll have the wonderful video that Ian has put together queued up to watch that again if you'd like. We also have some testimonials from fellow congregants. We'll have a computer set up if you would like to make a pledge through Realm, as well as some traditional paper pledge cards if you prefer that. We also have a fun activity at some of the tables, asking each of you to share something about UUS that brings you hope. Pete would like to show you what that will look like, some posters that we will then hang up and share with one another what UUS is a home for you. Thanks, Vanna. And stewardship team members will be floating around to engage you in conversation and to subtly press a pledge card into your hand as well. For those who want to take a deeper dive into the numbers for next year, there will be a virtual finance forum this evening, I believe, at 7 p.m. Come find one of us after the service and we can get you more information about that. Finally, you may have noticed the house taking shape in the atrium. In lieu of a giant thermometer tracking our pledges, that house will be our visual representation of participation from all of our pledging units this year. It's your pledges that will form the bricks of that house over the next 3 weeks, and the collective spirit of your generosity that I love so much about this congregation that will make UUS our home in the future. So Audre Lorde wrote that tomorrow belongs to those of us who conceive of it as belonging to everyone, who lend the best of ourselves to it and with joy. Thank you all so much for being here this morning and for being part of the UUS family.
May what has been shared today help us more fully affirm our interconnection and live into love and justice. After the service, we gather in fellowship hall and outside for conversation and community. If you are a newcomer, we hope you'll grab a snack and then sit at any of the tables so folks can join you for some conversation.
Our closing hymn for this morning is We Shall Be Known by Mom Muse. Please rise in body or in spirit. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in
Please join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. All these we carry in our hearts and in our minds until we are together again.
It is time now that we thrive. And I know these times are difficult, but I am so grateful to be alive and to be here, to be with y'all, making the changes that we need to see in this world. And so as you go forth into the world this day and this week, may you go, leading yourselves into the well, finding the gifts and speaking of them, the gifts of abundance, of reciprocity, of gratitude. Go in peace, love, and justice, living love ever more fully and fiercely into this world. Amen. And blessed be. And now, Andy Douglas is going to teach us our stewardship campaign song, which we will be using and growing over the coming weeks. Andy, hit it.
You all sounded great. I think we're ready for the month.